Happy morning, students. Welcome to grade 6 English class. Children, today we are going to learn our 12th chapter grammar, that is direct and indirect speech part 2. In the last class we have learned part 1 and now we are going to learn the second part of direct and indirect speech. Children, once again we can recall that is what I mean by speech and what is meant by direct and indirect speech and what are the rules to change a sentence from direct to indirect speech. Look at this, children. First you have to understand what I mean by speech. Speech means it report the words of a speaker. It report the words of a speaker, or you can say to convey a message of a person to other person. Speech can be used to convey a message of a person to a particular person to other person. For that purpose, you can use the speech. And then speech can be divided into two categories. One is direct speech and then indirect speech. Listen, children, there are two ways. That is, one is the direct speech and another one is the indirect speech to convey a message of a person to another person. Listen, children, first speech means it report the words of a speaker, and then it is divided into two categories, direct speech and indirect speech. First you have to understand what do you mean by direct speech and indirect speech. Look at the definition here. What do you mean by direct speech? The actual words of speaker are direct quoted as it is. As it is, that is known as direct speech. Listen, children, direct speech describes when something is being repeated exactly as it was, usually in between a pair of inverted commas. Listen, children, the actual words of a speaker are direct quoted as it is. So it describes when something is being repeated exactly. It is being repeated exactly as it was, usually in between a pair of inverted commas. That is known as direct speech. Listen, children, the way of reporting the actual words of a speaker is called direct speech. Once again, listen the definition. The way of reporting the actual words of a speaker is called the direct speech. And then the actual words spoken or put within inverted commas. That is known as direct speech. And the second one is the indirect speech. Here, actual words of the speaker are transformed. Listen, children, the difference between direct and indirect speech. Indirect speech means when we give the substance of what the speaker has said, the form of the speech is called the indirect speech, or we can say as the reported speech. When we give the substance of what the speaker has said, the form of speech is called the indirect speech or reported speech. Look at here, children, that is in indirect speech, it will still share the same information, but instead of expressing someone's comments or speech by directly repeating them, it involves reporting or describing what was said. And in the indirect speech, when we give the substance of what the speaker has said, the form of speech is called the indirect speech, or in another way we can say as a reported speech. So this is the difference between direct speech and indirect speech. Direct speech means the way of reporting the actual words of a speaker. And then indirect speech means when we give the substance of what the speaker has said. So this is known as indirect speech. Children, there are certain rules to change a sentence from direct to indirect. The first one is change in tenses. Second one, change in modal verbs. Third one, change in pronouns. And fourth is change in other words, that is denoting place and time. These are the changes you have to execute while converting a sentence from direct to indirect. Either you can convert a sentence from direct to indirect, that the sentence may be a statement or in interrogative or imperative, or it may be an exclamatory sentence. So with this four type of sentence, we can change a sentence from direct to indirect using these rules. The first one is change in tenses, second change in verbs, that is modal verb, third one change in pronoun, and fourth one is change in other words, that is denoting place and time. So the first one is change in tenses. How we can change a tenses from direct to indirect speech in a sentence. The first change is in tense. How we can change a tense from direct speech to indirect speech in a sentence. Either it may be a statement, interrogative, imperative, or it may be an exclamatory. Listen children, from direct to indirect speech, if the sentence is in present simple, in the indirect speech, we can write as past simple past. Simple present means you can write in indirect speech as simple past. And then present continuous in direct speech means past continuous. Then simple past means we can write as past perfect. So look at this changes children, how you have to change a sentence from direct to indirect speech. Simple present will change into simple past in indirect speech. Present continuous will change into past continuous in indirect speech. And then past simple past will be changed into past perfect in indirect speech. These changes you have to keep in mind. That is these tense, how a tense will be changed in that is in direct to indirect. That is from present to past, and then present continuous to past continuous, simple past to past perfect. The next, present perfect in direct speech will be changed to past perfect in indirect speech. And then the modal verb will be changed to would, can will be changed as could, and have to will be changed as had to, and imperative sentence means that is to infinitive. These are the changes will be taken place while converting a sentence from direct to indirect. That is a tense changes. These are the tense changes from direct to indirect. Present perfect will change to past perfect, and then modal verb will be changed as a past form as would, can means could, have to means had to, and imperative form to infinitive. So these changes you have to keep in mind. The next is the change of pronouns. Look at this. The first person I, we, me and us. Second person pronouns you. Third person pronouns he, she, it, him, her, them and they. Pronouns of the first person are changed according to the subject of the reporting clause. Pronouns of the second person are changed according to the object of the reporting clause. Pronouns of the third person do not change. So look at the difference children. The first person are changed according to the subject of the reporting clause, and the second person are changed according to the object of the reporting clause, while in the third person there is no change. So this is the rule for change of pronouns. The next is the change in other words. It represents about a place and time. How we can change both, that is a time and place, from direct to indirect speech. First listen children, in direct speech, now will change as in indirect speech as then or at that time. Ago will change as in indirect speech as before. Thus will change as so. At once will change as in indirect speech as that moment. This will change into that. These means those. Here means there. Come means go. and then this week means that week. Today will change into that day. Tomorrow will change into indirect speech as the next day, or you can say as the following day. Yesterday we can mention as the day before or the previous day. Next week or next morning will represent as the following week or the following morning. Last night will be changed into indirect speech as the night before. So these are the changes will take place from direct to indirect speech. That is, the direct speech will change the words expressing nearness or change into those expressing distance. This will change into that, these will change into those, here will change into there, and thus will change into so. These are the changes taken place while converting a sentence from direct to indirect speech. Listen children, you all know that there are 4 types of sentence. One is the affirmative, or you can say a statement. Second is the interrogative, and third one is the imperative, and fourth is the exclamatory. Here we have to change this reporting verb from direct to indirect speech using the conjunction. For each type of sentence, the conjunction may be varied. The first type of sentence is statement. In the statement, if it is in the direct speech, it is mentioned as say. You have to change the reporting verb as say, and says means you have to change as says. Say to will be changed as tell. Says to will be changed as tells, and said you have to write as it is said, and said to will be changed as told. This said to is changed into told. This we have used in an example which we have learned now. And then there we have used the conjunction as that. For the statement, you have to use the conjunction word as that. Look at the next is the interrogative. The interrogative, it end with a question mark, begin with the question word, you can say. Interrogative means the other word is question. Here in the direct speech, the reporting verb will be mentioned as said or said to. You have to represent in indirect speech as asked. Asked is mentioned in the direct speech itself. You can write the same thing in indirect speech as asked. The conjunction you can use as if it begin with a WH question or a how like was, same question word you can use for conjunction. Or if it is an yes or no type question, you can use the conjunction word as if or whether. So this is the key point you have to keep in mind children. For the interrogative, said is or said to is given the question, that is in the direct speech. You have to convert as asked in indirect speech, and if the conjunction word WH question or how is represent, you have to write the same question word. The question is, that is the interrogative sentence, is gives the answer for yes or no type of question. You have to use the conjunction either if or whether. And third type of sentence is imperative. For this imperative, if it is mentioned in direct speech as said to or said, you have to convert into indirect speech the reporting verb as ordered, and then asked, commanded, requested, advised, warned or suggested or told. According to the content, you have to frame the reporting verb, and you can use the conjunction word as to and not to for don't. If it is a negative thing, that is you have to use not to. The conjunction word you have to use as not to. For don't, if the direct speech is mentioned as don't, that is a negative point, you can write the conjunction word as to. And the next is the exclamatory. The fourth type of sentence is exclamatory. If it is mentioned as said to or said, you have to write the reporting verb as exclaim. If it is mentioned as hoa, you can write as exclaimed joyfully. And alas or how it is given, you can represent the reporting verb as exclaimed sorrowfully. And then for the exclamatory sentence, you have to use the conjunction as that. Again, recall children, there are 4 types of sentence. One is the statement, second one is the interrogative, third one is the imperative, and fourth one is the exclamative. For the statement, you have to use the conjunction as that, And for interrogative, you have to use the WH question or how it is represent. You have to use the same question word. And the interrogative question is like a yes or no type of question. You have to give the conjunction either if or whether. And for the imperative sentence, you have to give the conjunction word as to, or if the direct speech is mentioned as don't, you have to use the conjunction word as not to. And for the exclamatory sentence, there is only one conjunction word you have to use as that. Both for statement and then for the exclamatory, you have to use the same conjunction as that. Children, among the four type of sentence, first we are going to learn statement, or you can say as an affirmative sentence, how we can change a statement from direct to indirect speech. Listen children, there are certain rules to change a sentence from direct to indirect. The first one is change a reporting verb according to the sentence. The second step is add conjunction. Third one, remove comma quotation. And fourth one, change pronoun in reported speech. The next one, change tense in reported speech. And finally, we have to change time and place adverbial. How we have to change from tense to tense in direct to indirect we have learned, and then about time and place adverbial and the change of pronoun, everything we have learned. And we have also learned about the conjunction word. For statement, what is the conjunction word you have to use, and for imperative sentence and then interrogative, exclamatory, we have learned about the conjunction word. Now the first example is statement. How we have to change a statement from direct to indirect. First look at this example children. In direct speech, the teacher said to the students, we are going on an excursion to Kerala next week. Listen children, in the sentence we can identify the comma quotation, that is open quotation and close quotation. This we can say as a direct speech, the actual words of a speaker. The teacher said to the students, what did the teacher say? We are going on an excursion. So here the actual words of the speaker is mentioned. Now we are going to change this statement from direct to indirect. First you have to identify who is the speaker here. The teacher. The teacher is the speaker. And then next, said to. Said to is known as the reporting verb. The students is the listener. The teacher said to the students. Here we have identified who is the speaker and who is the listener and what is the reporting verb. The next, what is the pronoun here is mentioned as we. We is the pronoun mentioned here. And the next, a reported verb. What is the reported verb here? Are going is known as the reported verb. The next is mentioned as the time adverbial is mentioned here. What is it? By next week is there. It is time adverbial. Here we are going to change the statement to indirect. The first step, change a reporting verb according to the sentence. The first you have to write the speaker as it is. Who is the speaker here? The teacher. So you have to write the teacher as it is. The teacher. The next step, said to. That is, we have to change the reporting verb according to the sentence. This is statement. For statement, we have shown in the tabular column that said to will be changed as told in indirect speech for statement. So said to will be changed as told. That is reporting verb. First we have to change the reporting verb according to the sentence. The sentence is statement. So here we have changed the said to as told. Next, who is the listener? The student. So you have to write as it is. Said, that is the teacher told the students. Second step, here you have to remove the comma quotation and then you have to add the conjunction word. What is the conjunction word you have to use for statement? That. The teacher told the students that. For this indirect speech, you should not write as the comma quotation. You should not use here. You have to remove comma quotation here. So, the teacher told the students that. The next is the change of pronoun. We will change into they. So, the pronoun is changed as they. And then next is the reported verb. What is the reported verb in direct speech? Are going. Here we are going to change the tense. The first one example that is in the direct speech is it is present. Here we are going to write in the past form. So are when we have written in the direct speech, while converting into indirect speech we are going to write the past form as were. They were going. Remaining thing you have to take and write as it is. Going on an excursion to Kerala. Here the next week is there. You have to write as it is. There is no change here. So you can write as the next week. So what is the answer here? The teacher told the students that they were going on an excursion to Kerala the next week. It is already given there. So we can write the next week as it is, or we can mention as the week after. No problem. The week after. So what is the answer? The teacher told the students that they were going on an excursion to Kerala next week. Here what are the changes we have updated? First we have to change the reporting verb according to the sentence. Second is the add conjunction. Third, remove comma quotation. And then fourth is the change pronoun in reported speech. And then next, change tense in reported speech. And finally, we have to change time and place adverbial. This is the step to convert a statement from direct to indirect speech. Look at the second type of sentence, that is interrogative. Look at the direct speech, children. Siva said to me, comma, open quotation, when will you meet me? On seeing the comma quotation, we can identify that this is direct speech and it is an interrogative type of sentence. The same procedure you have to follow, children. The first you have to change the reporting verb according to the sentence. The next you have to add conjunction, remove comma quotation, change pronoun. The next change tense and then change time and adverbial. So the first you have to identify the listener and the speaker, and then step by step you have to convert into indirect speech. So this is interrogative type of sentence. So listen, children. The first, Siva said to me. So here interrogative type, if it is mentioned in the direct speech as said or said to, you have to convert as asked in indirect speech. So first mention the name Siva. Instead of said to, you have to write the reporting verb as asked. Then me as it is, that is the Siva said to me listener, you have to write as it is. Siva asked me. Remove comma quotation. This is for the WH question. We have to write the same word as it is, which we have learned in our table or column. So when, here you have to mention this change of pronoun. When I, the next is the change of tense, that is will, would, that is a modal verb. Here we have to change will automatically changes would, the past form. Would, meet, instead of me, it will be changed as him. Me will change as him. Here, when will you meet him? That is the answer. Siva asked me when I would meet him. So this is indirect speech. So look at the difference between direct and indirect speech, children. So for the direct speech, it is mentioned with comma quotation, but in the indirect speech, you have to remove this comma quotation, and step by step you have to change the reporting verb and then pronoun. Here it begins with the WH question, so you have to use the same question word in the indirect speech also. Now look at the next example. The doctor asked the patient, do you smoke? Here it begins with the comma and end at the quotation marks. So we can identify this as a direct speech. So we have to convert this in indirect speech. The doctor asked. Already it is mentioned as asked in the question. That is in direct speech. We can write the same as it is in indirect speech. The doctor asked the patient, do you smoke? Look at here. Compared to the first example, look at the second example. Do you smoke? How the answer will be yes or no type. So the question is a yes or no type of answer you should give for this question. So for here we can use the conjunction either if or whether. So here I have used the conjunction word as whether. The doctor asked the patient, remove comma quotation. Then use the conjunction word as whether. Here we have to change this pronoun as he smoked. Change the tense form also. In the past form you have to write smoked. The doctor asked the patient whether he smoked. If the question word begins with a WH or how, likewise you have to write the same question word. Or if the question word gives answers such as yes or no type, we can use the conjunction word either if or whether to convert the sentence, that is the interrogative, into indirect speech. The third type is the imperative type of sentence. Look at here children, imperative. Imperative we can say as an order or request or advice. These are known as imperative type of sentence. First look at the question in direct speech. Mr. Charing said to his driver, comma, open quotation, drop me at my office and pick me up at 3 p.m. This is in direct speech. We have to convert this into imperative. That is a imperative type of sentence into indirect speech. The same procedure you have to follow. First you have to change this reporting verb. You have to change this reporting verb. The next add conjunction. You have to remove comma quotation. Change pronoun. The next change tense. And finally you have to change this time and place adverbial. So this is imperative sentence. On reading this question itself, we can identify this sentence is an imperative type. So first you have to identify the listener and the speaker. So Mr. Chari is the speaker. So write his name as it is. Said to. The question that is for the imperative type of sentence, said or said to will be automatically changed as ordered or asked or commanded, requested, advised, warned, suggested. Likewise, it will be changed in indirect speech. So, said to his driver. Instead of said to, we have to change this reporting verb as ordered. Mr. Chari ordered his driver. That is listener, you have to write as it is. Mr. Chari ordered his driver. Remove comma quotation. What is the conjunction here? You have to use to. T-O, to. We have to use the conjunction word as to. Drop, change of pronoun as him. At, my will change is his office. At his office. And pick him. The next change of pronoun at 3 p.m. There is a specific time is there. So we can't change this time. So write the time as it is at 3 p.m. This is the procedure to change a imperative sentence from direct to indirect. Here we have used the conjunction word as to. And if it is given as a negative form in direct speech for don't, if it is mentioned as don't, here we have to use then the conjunction as not to. But here the sentence is in positive, so we have to use the conjunction word as to. If it is mentioned as don't in direct speech, then you have to use the conjunction word as not to. So what is the answer children now? Mr. Chari ordered his driver, remove comma quotation, add conjunction to, drop him, change the pronoun, drop him at his office and pick him up at 3 p.m. This is the procedure to change from direct to indirect speech. The next type of sentence is exclamatory sentence. This also for the same procedure children. We can convert an exclamatory sentence from direct to indirect. First you have to change the reporting verb, then add conjunction, remove comma quotation, change pronoun. The next you have to change tense, finally change time and adverbial according to the form. Listen children, for this exclamatory, conjunction plus subject plus auxiliary verb, you have to use it. Same, what a beautiful view it is. It begins with a open quotation and then exclamatory mark, close quotation, said my friend. Here for this exclamatory sentence, if it is mentioned as said or said to in direct speech, we have to mention in indirect speech, that is a reporting verb, as exclaimed, and we have to use the conjunction word as that for exclamatory sentence. So here, what is the subject here? My friend, that is the speaker. Who is the speaker? My friend. Mention the speaker as it is. There is no change in the speaker. So write as it is. My friend. What is the reporting verb here? Said is there. If it is mentioned as a said or said to in the reporting verb in direct speech, you have to convert as exclaimed. So mention as my friend exclaimed. Then next, what is the conjunction word for exclamatory sentence? You have to use the conjunction word only as that. So, my friend exclaimed that it, instead of is, what you have to use the past form as was. It was a very beautiful view. So, here we have changed the exclamatory, that is a reporting verb. In the exclamatory sentence, the reporting verb said as said to. Said or said to will be changed as exclaimed. Then we have add the conjunction word as that. Then we have changed the tense form. Then remaining thing we have to write as it is. So the answer is, my friend exclaimed that it was a very beautiful view. Look at the next example. Monica said, comma, open quotation, hooray, then exclamatory symbol. I have scored 490 marks, close quotation. This is in direct speech. The same procedure to convert an exclamatory sentence from direct to indirect. If it is mentioned as a said or said to, the reporting verb, you have to change the reporting verb as exclaimed. If it is mentioned as hooray, you have to change as exclaimed joyfully. Or if it is mentioned as alas or ho, you have to mention as exclaimed sorrowfully. So look at the difference children in reporting verb, and then you have to add the conjunction as that for exclamatory sentence. So first, who is the speaker here? Monica. Monica, you have to write the speaker as it is. Monica. Instead of said, that is said, hooray is given there. So you can write as the reporting verb as exclaimed joyfully. Monica exclaimed joyfully. The next, remove comma quotation. What is the conjunction word you have to use? That. Monica exclaimed joyfully that. Monica, that is I have scored. I represents to Monica. So what is the change of pronoun you have to use? Instead of I, here we have used the pronoun as she. Have, the past form, we have to change here. That is a change of tense. So that she had scored 490 marks. So the answer is, Monica exclaimed joyfully that she had scored 490 marks. In this way, you have to convert an exclamatory sentence from direct to indirect speech. So recall children, direct speech means it shows a person's exact words, and then quotation marks, open quotation and close quotations are used in direct speech. That is, the actual words of a speaker is mentioned in direct speech. So direct speech means, direct speech describes when something is being repeated exactly as it was, usually in between a pair of inverted commas, the actual words of a speaker. The next is the indirect speech. It reported, you can say as a indirect speech or reported speech. It puts the speaker's words or ideas into sentence without quotation marks. There is no quotation marks. Use of the word, that is optional in reported speech. When we give the substance of what the speaker has said, the form of speech is called the indirect speech, or you can say as the reported speech. So children, learn direct and indirect speech rules, definition, and how you have to change a sentence from direct to indirect speech. Either it may be a statement, imperative, or interrogative or exclamatory sentence. So learn thoroughly and then take down these rules and definitions, examples, everything in your classwork notebook. After completing this, take a photocopy and send it to me. Thank you.